Everyone, I'm Allison. Thank you for joining me for Where I'm From 216 with Melissa. What have you been reading? I have been reading Fawning by my friend Dr. Ingrid Clayton. I am loving it, as I knew that I would, because Ingrid is just wonderful. I don't know if you follow her on Instagram, but if you don't, she's definitely worth checking out. And this book about fawning obviously resonates with me. I think it probably resonates with a lot of people who've experienced trauma and are women uh, and are people of color and are just humans existing. So I I highly recommend it. I'm reading it and I can't just read it all at once because there's so much to absorb, but I am really, I think it's a great book. And I think you'll think so too. If you haven't, Dr. Ingrid Clayton, Fawning. Okay, Melissa, let's see. I accept, oh, here you are. Oh, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm looking at myself for the first time today. So, how does that feel?
I know it's a little, yeah, I have my routine and because I do this so often, but yeah, it's a little bit strange to.
Does your routine involve taking your hair down, putting it up, taking it down, putting it up, going to the camera setting and looking at and then going to someone who you envy and looking
No.
at their page and comparing yourself to what they look like and then trying your hair like their hair is?
No, but I appreciate the insight into your routine. No, mine is like wait until the last possible second
Hmm.
that you can, like 4 minutes before you're gonna start, put on lipstick and mascara, change my shirt, plop down. So,
I love it.
um,
You look
yeah.
great.
Oh, thank you. Um, the lipstick and mascara and the light helps.
Yeah, I'm
For
sure.
sure. Yeah. It's always like, oh, you turn it on, you're like, oh, this nice. Could this follow me around all day? Yeah, it's good to do something that makes you, I think, a little uncomfortable, and then over time it becomes more comfortable.
Agreed. I agree. And I'm just looking at you now, which makes it
Right,
easy.
good. It's like on Zoom when you can get rid of your self view, it's
Can
like,
you?
oh, yeah.
Oh, I should.
Yeah, it's nice because I find myself looking at myself, which is so strange because in
Well,
an
that's it.
actual
I do that
conversation,
like
you don't do that.
23 hours of the day. And then, that 1 hour when you're engrossed in conversation with someone you love and you
Mhm.
forget yourself.
Mhm.
That's what we live for.
It is. I find relationships, the pandemic was a tricky one because you had to sort of jigger all of those things. Like relationships all changed, and then getting back into the real world has been challenging
Do you have little
because
kids?
not anymore.
I think those of us with little kids had a, well, I mean, maybe it was just like everyone with little kids. That's life, whether
Mhm.
there's a pandemic or not. You're
Yeah.
just stuck looking at them every day, all day.
Yeah. It
It
was
was
I
a lot.
was I was fortunate, I think the age my kids were, they were tween and a little younger and it was a decent age. It wasn't graduating high school, which I think was brutal. And it wasn't little where they suddenly had no social life, which was also
Mine were so
really
little
hard.
they hadn't developed that yet
Mm.
anyway, so in some ways it didn't feel that different. But I
Yeah.
love that we're talking about the pandemic because I feel like it was this, no, it was like this existential terror that just happened and then we moved on. No one ever like talks about that trauma that we all endured. Just
That we're all still processing
100%.
like a tiny bit at a time because we never all got together and said, "Holy crap.
None.
What
There was
what?"
no
Yeah.
agreement on like, let's all process this. Let's have a moment. It was like
No.
back to work. Okay, rip the masks off, do your thing. It was really wild the way we just collectively ignored that
Yeah, I
happened.
think, but we're living through it right now, right? I mean, I think that's part of what we're living through right now is this kind of like
Yeah.
how we deal with trauma.
Yeah, we're,
Uh,
we're, we're terrified. Who can protect me? Oh, you're promising to protect me. Let
yeah,
me.
I'm just going to disregard all the other stuff you're saying, which is really terrifying and problematic. Yeah, it's well, so
Hello.
hello. I think about it a lot. I think because I started the series during the pandemic, and I was actually talking to my friend yesterday about it. I started it because I was feeling so powerless and disconnected from people, and I feel a lot of those same, not the disconnectedness as much. I definitely have relationships that are important to my well-being, and I take care of those relationships. But the powerlessness piece is
Yeah.
very familiar. Like, crap,
Right.
it's this again, feeling like, what can I do? And
Right.
so um, I I did this because it was something that felt significant to me. And that's
Right.
all you, in the end, like, I can
Oh,
give
I love
money,
that.
I can vote, I can do all the, obviously, I do these things, but also, yeah, we matter. I have to believe we all matter. It gets me through the day. So, thank you for joining me, Melissa. Thank you for writing your incredible book on shame. That must have been, I don't know. It seems like it would have been emotional to write, but maybe it was a cakewalk, and if it was, good for you. But it just
Oh
seems
goodness.
like seems like um, a really important book that probably took a little bit of a toll on you to write. So, thank you for doing it.
Thank you for reading and for mirroring back that I did it.
Yeah, yeah,
It can be
yeah,
it's this weird feeling where like you take a book and you chuck it into the ocean and then
yeah,
it's gone. And you're
yeah,
like, "Oh, did anyone find that? Did anyone
yeah.
read it? Did it make a ripple at least?"
I think it did. I think they do, but it is. I agree with you. It's. I published a anthology on sibling loss so that I co-edited this summer, and my friend who I edited it with, we know people are reading it and people reach out to us, but it is this
And I
sort
do as
of,
well. I
yeah,
think it doesn't matter how, like, I've actually started to really, one thing I really try to do is observe people curiously without, like,
mm, yeah,
judging or comparing and, like getting too much falling into those traps, but to really notice the way people live because I didn't really grow up with a lot of models of the
mm,
way it could look. Like, what
sure,
does life look like in other
yep,
people's homes or
mm,
in other people, behind closed doors? So I watched the way other writers sort of experience the book coming out, book debut authors, when the book, like, and I just see what it looks like and I really pay attention. And I think it's this universal experience of, when we share something so tender and important to us, there's always that little part of us, that like little self inside that is still wanting mommy and daddy to just completely validate and like, oh, you're so good, you did such a good job, and there's nothing could make it, like, it doesn't matter. There's a feeling of grief because
mm,
you're not being witnessed in that like glorious godlike way by the world. They're just going on with their Tuesdays, and so it can, I see other people have this experience too where there's a bit of a letdown and a
yeah,
loss.
for sure. Yeah. And we experienced that especially because it was an anthology. So you have this close where you're talking to everybody and you're working
Right.
on their pieces, and you came together in this common trauma or grief, right? And so you're kind of holding each other up, and then it just sort of,
It's over.
yeah, because you can't, I mean, you can't continue to do it in that same way, like you say. It's
No,
Tuesday. We got to
yeah,
live our
no,
lives. We got to do all the things that we are committed to doing. And yeah, it is a strange thing. Yeah. So it did make a ripple, Melissa. This is funny.
I do believe that. I mean, that's true about, like, I heard Tara Brach was talking about devotion, and when you're
Mm,
devoted to something, it can feel really powerful and connecting. And if you don't have something you're devoted to, you can feel really
mm,
untethered. I
mhm,
think I've spent the last year sort of feeling
mm,
afloat, and now
mhm,
I've come back to. But actually, I would say moments like this really reconnect me to that purpose and that
mm,
sense of, um, just meaning.
mhm. Yeah, I think that devotion, I like that framing. Because yeah, we can't just stay devoted to something forever. Ever.
No,
I
and
mean,
especially if people, I guess, I wonder if parents feel this way when their children, well, some parents, when they have like the empty nest,
yeah,
you have to move on, otherwise you're living in that place of that
I'm saying
liminal.
yeah because I'm getting there. So it's a
Right? You're preparing
yeah.
for that like
Mhm.
new
Yeah.
stage, but there's a lot of loss and grief
Yeah.
when your baby is
I
on.
mean, there just is in life, right? And I think
Yes.
so much of the frustrations or the sadness for me in life is when I have to pretend like it isn't, part of
Right.
life.
Well,
When we
that
have,
has been the gift of my book. Um,
mm,
it has reaffirmed a practice of not lying to people when they ask me how I am.
hmm yeah,
It's one of the first things I encourage people to do when they ask, how do you practice shame resilience every day? When someone asks you how you're doing, give
hmm
them an honest answer
yeah,
and give them a peek of that kind of whatever the real
hmm
confused feelings are, the multiplicity of feelings we have inside. If you can just share a bit of it, people
hmm
usually respond really warmly.
Well, like you did when we showed up here and you said, "Is your routine this?" Yeah.
And I'm so like I'm pretty like almost athletic in my practice because
Yeah.
I don't have time to
hmm
not be real.
hmm Yeah.
Like, I mean, we started talking
hmm
about the pandemic. Like, do you
hmm
remember when we were like, maybe it's airborne, we could all die? Like, what do we,
Yeah.
who's going to take my kids if I'm gone? Like, we were asking the hard questions,
Yeah.
and I just want to live the life with like answering them. Like,
hmm
who do I need to be today? How do I need to show up? Um, what does the world deserve from me? What can I contribute? Like, you doing this is
hmm
what can I do today to know to just feel a sense of purpose and meaning.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because that's what keeps us going, you know,
Absolutely.
and the interconnectedness. I think for me, it was like we, the more that I feel that in my life, like the interconnectedness of all of us, the better I feel because it gives me more hope. And I see that, most of us are trying to get to the same place. The way we're doing it may be different, but so it helps me like when I go out into the world and interact with people, for the most part, they're positive interactions, and during the pandemic, I couldn't do that. So I started doing this,
I love that.
you know. And then it's a thing I was joking with the person I was talking to yesterday was Lynn, the co-editor of this anthology. And I was saying, even when, and I'm sure you go through this, you think like, oh, I'm never going to write anything again. Like, whatever, who cares? Like nobody cares what I have to say. Or maybe you don't. And if you
I do.
don't,
I
good
do.
for
No,
you.
completely.
It's like, but I think like, oh, I'll keep doing this. Like, even if I'm living in a cave somewhere, I'll
Right.
keep doing this, because it is meaningful to me and I know it has value probably because it's not centered around me. And it's
Mm.
easier for me to
Yes.
see value when it's not centered around
Oh,
me.
how true is that? I love
Yeah.
that. I feel the same way about the
Yeah.
work that I do
Yeah.
as an instructor and a
Yeah.
facilitator, a book coach. It's like I can
Yeah.
just show up and be of service and
It's hard to see the value when it's centered around ourselves, or at least it's hard for me because then you have to see that you have value and that's really uncomfortable.
yeah, it's hard for me too if something's unpaid
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
feel this
Yeah.
like I ought to be contributing financially to my family every second of my life and
Capitalism is real. The pressures of it and the ability to help make us erase ourselves in the name of making money is real. You
oh,
know,
yeah.
uh, it's a very powerful force. Oh. So I understand that too. Anyway, but you're contributing. We have to just like showing up and also feeding ourselves emotionally and creatively. Like that does have value, even if it isn't dollar signs. So I,
Right,
you
right.
know, it's important. It is truly it's important. So thank you for joining me. And I want to hear your poem. So people are like, okay, read the poem. Um,
Do I have to read it?
oh, you don't,
Do I
yes,
have it in
usually
front
you
of
read
me?
it. No, this happened a few weeks ago and she was like, oh, I don't. And then we
have
had
it
to
in front of me.
reschedule. Yeah, because she was like, oh, I don't
No,
have it. Because she didn't have another device. And, it was
I
like,
have
okay,
another device.
yeah.
I mean,
So it
I'm
was
just
like,
giving
okay, we'll come
myself
back.
away that I don't. Do you want to? I was talking to a student today, and we were talking about publishing, and I said no one really reached. Well, I did the whole like book into the ocean thing, and like if you don't, if no one ever reads your book, don't feel it's not personal. Like a lot of people don't read. Like basically, I'm covering up the. I'm not covering up the fact. I'm exposing the fact that I've not listened to the show,
Oh,
right?
it's okay.
Because I'm not
I don't,
prepared.
it's fine. It doesn't, I will tell you this, doing something 216 times, you have seen a lot of different permutations of things. And I don't really, it doesn't bother me. Like, I don't expect people to have done their homework. I don't do my homework for
You
things. I
know,
mean,
I am learning. I don't read like my friends have written books I haven't read.
yeah,
I've done
I
talks
try,
with
but it's a
people I
lot of
haven't read
books,
their
right?
books.
Yeah,
Like I've done talks with people who haven't read my book, and I can
totally.
tell, and it
Yeah.
feels a way, but it's not like how could I take it personally when I am also on the other side of that? Is
Hmm.
probably like my lifelong like write that down. Like how can you take
Oh,
that
for sure.
personally if you're also on you always are on the other side of that, so don't take it
Mhm.
personally. None of it's personal. None of it's
No,
personal.
and I think, yeah, I agreed. I totally agree. I mean, it's just like I'd rather have you here having not done your homework than not have you here. And I
Right.
think that was sort of something early on that it was like, I want this to be the lowest barrier to entry, like that it possibly can be. Because we're all spread so thin. I mean, we are. Everyone is.
Right.
And I think that too is something that comes with time and age where you're like, oh, everyone is spread thin. Even if their life looks easy to you, it's
Right.
not.
Right. We're all living under different conditions. I
Yeah.
actually did pull up my poem, by the way.
Okay. Well, that was a good transition. You got, but I think your point is valid, and I totally agree. Like, I mean, people just don't. You can't read all the books, and for me, I was in film school, see all the movies, do all the. I mean, you just can't do
I
all the
never,
things.
if, and also if someone tells me to read something or listen to something, that's like the best guarantee I won't. I'm just way too demand avoid. If like you have to read this, no, I don't. And now I'll never read it. Thank you very much.
Yes, demand avoidance is real. All right.
Here I am.
So here you are, and you have your poem in front of you. So,
I do. I feel so vulnerable
yeah,
reading this out loud.
yep. I do one every year for just that reason, because as the year goes on, I sort of forget how vulnerable it is. And then I read mine. My birthday's in January. I read it then. And every time I'm like, oh, even though I've done like 50 of these in a year, it's a
Right.
totally different experience reading your own poem. So yes, it is vulnerable.
Okay, I should do it.
I think I think you can do it. I'm like hot.
Okay.
I'm like getting hot for you. I get hot when I'm nervous. I'm getting warm just
Okay.
thinking about it for you. So you can do it.
I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. Okay, here goes. I am from. I am from Spiral Bound Notebooks, from Mr. Pibb and Dairy Queen. I am from the basement of my grandma's house, liminal, dim, dank. I am from the cornflower that grows on the side of the highway, dirty, dull, blue. I am from Thanksgiving dinners at Mike and Judy's, my parents shit talking the whole car ride home. From Patricia and Christopher. I'm from deafening silence and saving face, from keep what happens at home private, and you should be ashamed. I'm from church once a year on Easter, hanging back in the pew while everyone else took communion. I'm from Bedford, Ohio, by way of Slavic village. Stuffed cabbage, kielbasa, and sauerkraut on New Year's Day. From the townhouse my mom helped Aunt Anne rent when she decided to leave her husband, and the frustrated disbelief when she never moved in. When I moved out, I left an army green metal trunk at my mom's house, a cavernous time capsule full of journals, wilted corsages, concert ticket stubs. My mom and I no longer speak. I don't want it anyway.
You did it. You did it great.
This is such an interesting experience because as a writer, I write something and then I put it out into the world and
Mm,
I never
mm,
have to reckon because as I was reading, I was like, fuck, my Aunt Anne follows me on Instagram.
mm,
What are the odds that she could,
mm.
even though I've written books with a book with like a lot of things in it, that
Mm.
could be potentially read by like the people, but I
Yes.
don't, but when you put it into the world, you don't have to think about it.
Do you not think about
I
it? You
don't think about
must.
it.
You don't?
No,
Okay.
are you kidding?
I
How
do a
could I
little.
walk this earth thinking, oh, my kid's principal knows this?
Mm,
Like I can't
mm.
put those together. I'd rather not.
Yeah. No, I try to put it out of my mind, but there's always a moment when publication or submission or whatever where I go, okay. And it's funny because the thing that got me starting submitting was before I'd push submit, I'd go, the shame isn't mine. Submit,
Mm.
you
I
know?
know it doesn't ever. The only time sometimes dudes will
I'm sure.
like the other day, like a month or so ago. Sometimes I'll just get like this weird vibe, and
Mm,
this parent was giving me a weird vibe, and then he was like, "Yeah, you're a writer. Yeah, I Googled you or whatever." Like, that's the weird vibe.
I had a call up, but that's perfect timing for that as well. A weird vibe where somebody is like, I don't know if it's baiting, but it's this thing where it's like, I don't know, like asking you to explain yourself? Or
Oh, it's
what do you think they're
it's like
looking
I
for?
know something about you. I'm
Right.
like, yeah,
Which is
asshole,
public
I
information.
told you.
Right, exactly.
But like, don't confront me with it. That's weird. Like you're
Yeah.
being weird and inappropriate.
Yeah.
But
I
also sometimes people are I try to like be generous and think people are just not used to people sharing intimate details. So when they
yeah.
meet someone who's shared something intimate, they're like they don't know how to.
I think it would have been difficult for me because the first essay I published was with Ms. and it was about me being assaulted by George Tyndall at USC, who was the doctor who assaulted, thousands of people, and the USC paid $1 billion to those victims. And but it was also about previous, rape, trauma, etc. And I don't know if I would have. It was during the pandemic,
Hmm.
and I was like, well, I'm not going to have to see anybody at pickup and drop off. I'm not going to
Right.
have to, because it didn't really occur to me I could do that and just not share it. Because of course you could do that too. Don't share it on social media. No one will find it who knows you, or barely anyone will, But um, I've thought many times about the safety that not having to be like somebody's mom every day gave me to do that.
I mean, again, I'm just probably so resilient having experienced mass
Well,
media
you went through, I was
humiliation.
going to say, I mean, you went through an exceptional experience.
It was probably the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah.
So, having lived through that,
Do you want to say what it is? Because I know what it is,
oh,
but I
sure.
don't know. Yeah.
And that was my second byline. So my first
Yeah, and I
byline
mean,
was on the rumpus,
you were viral. Like that whole
but I
thing.
wasn't a writer
Right.
before
Right.
that. I had
Right.
written one piece for the rumpus, and then I wrote a 700 word piece for the Huffington Post. Um, that just
Huffington
closed.
Post, man.
And
Sorry.
this was back before there were even there was like, I don't know who the editor was that
Oh,
accepted
okay.
the piece. Like,
Interesting.
there was no
Hmm.
editing. Like, you can read it and see there's no editing.
Hmm.
And it was just a short piece, um, in criticism of the shuttering of the services section on Craigslist. Because there used to be
Hmm.
its own little section where you could buy and sell sex.
Hmm.
And they shuttered it because of pressure. Um, and I wrote a piece. Um, People have sex for all different reasons. Sometimes for some of us, one reason is money, was the
Yeah.
first line. And I
Yeah.
talked about my own experience and how I got into it and then I got out of it, and it wasn't anybody's responsibility to regulate that. And actually what's interesting, I don't think I've ever said this in an interview, but I had tried to get with an agency prior to that, to sell sex basically with like a pimp, but I didn't get, I was too short or something. He didn't call me back. I've never shared that. So I did it through Craigslist on my own. Like they didn't see pictures of me. I wasn't rejected. But
Okay.
so my
No
measurement.
judgment.
This was also 20 years ago. So like, okay.
Yeah.
No, it was for whatever reason I didn't get called back. So I did it myself on Craigslist. Like, you're not going to stop me. And that was totally fine, I thought. And it should be. And if people want to have sex for money or any reason, that's their body. They have bodily autonomy and they can do that, with the argument I made. And I happened to be a public school teacher when I made it. I don't know why. I didn't really think that people, again, this idea of like, I put it in the world. I didn't think people were going to read it. Or I was like kind of proud because I got my first second byline.
Right. Yes.
And then I just got like, I was on the cover of the New York Post.
Yes.
I lost my career.
Yes.
As a teacher.
Yes. I remember it when it happened because I was like, what the actual fuck? Like, why is this person who I didn't know getting completely demonized for, like you say, sharing the information? It's not like it was uncovered about you. Not that that would be
But it was like
okay reason.
the
Yes.
audacity you had to say
Yes.
that. Like, and even
Yes.
people who agreed with my points were like, but you don't do, like, it's irresponsible and a little, it reflected poorly that I made that bad choice in people's eyes. Even if they agreed with what I was saying, that you would do that. And this was a different time when like the main character would stay the main character for a while. Like it wasn't switching every hour. Like you would really, and then you were plucking. It was just when they started to pluck like regular citizens and then turn them into like
Yeah.
era. So my person became a caricature that drove a narrative for the New York Post about bad teachers. And this idea of like a woman just getting away with like her, like, getting away with something. People didn't like the narrative.
Yes, getting away with something that she openly shared.
And then mocking the world by saying and even Bloomberg, was it Bloomberg? I don't even forget. It was so long ago. I think it was Bloomberg. That, we're not going to have that woman in a classroom, and they were looking into criminal charges that I had somehow been duplicitous.
Right, which is just, anyway. And I mean, we know there are teachers who do things that are very inappropriate with their own students, which is the thing that we should be concerned with. Or yeah. I remember at the time just this kind of, it's something I think about, and it's something people share in the writing groups that we're, in on social media. I do feel like it's weaponized against writers, memoirists, particularly women and people of color, disabled writers, like to shame people into silence by making their lives difficult. And and it's just there. It's kind of just there, like, are you willing to run the risk? Are you willing to roll the dice? And it
that you
upsets
could
me.
be humiliated publicly in response. So I feel like it's less common now that people are like really like made a point of. It's kind of like, like being burned on a stake. You're making a point for everyone else. It's like even to like giving the ticket to the speeder. Like everyone's speeding, but every now and again they'll pluck one person, look at the ticket, and there's always a risk that you're going to get a ticket, so you got to slow.
Right.
We have, and that's how shame functions in our society. So shaming is a mechanism of control.
Yes.
So you got to kind of stay within these narrow guidelines, or else you're going to, if you deviate, you'll be shamed back into place. But actually the guidelines are impossible. It's a tightrope.
Yes.
You can't be, if you're too sexy, that's not good, but you can't be too prudish either. So there's this like really narrow idea of who you can be, and it's impossible, and it just keeps us exhausted and small, right? Throughout our entire life. I don't know why, but from an early age, I felt like I couldn't
Hmm.
live on that
Yeah.
tightrope. So
Yeah.
I always had that like need to confess
Hmm.
the truth. And
Hmm.
that was always, and it always felt better. Like I didn't really ever
Yeah.
get punished until I really got punished. Um, and so I learned to just, speak that truth. I guess I was writing from an early age. They had something called the power of the pen. Is that
Mm.
a thing everywhere? It's like a writing
Wait,
competition.
I
Oh
don't
my
think
God, it
so.
was so cool. It was like different schools would come together, like you would play a sport, except they would give you a prompt
Yeah,
and
that's
everyone would
awesome.
write on it and then they'd
Hmm.
score it and people would win. It was
Hmm.
like a competition. And I was in Power of the Pen
Hmm.
and so I was always like I was being praised
Yeah.
for writing. So
Yeah.
that became a way of living. And then I could never not. I've signed, one time I signed an NDA. I signed an NDA because my child is special needs and we have to fight for a free and appropriate public education for him. And it's very
Hmm.
complicated. And I
Yes.
sign NDAs when we do settlements. And I
Oh.
broke my NDA. I didn't think of it, but and then I had to speak with my lawyer and she was so angry. And I hate when people are angry at me.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh,
I
I
mean, that's
hate it.
interesting that you are able to share so much, but you also hate when people, because
But
some
it's so
people,
I don't have like what I'm saying is I signed an NDA
yeah, and
and
you
then
just forget
there's
about it.
no malice. Like I'm not
No.
like ha 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 I'm gonna
Yeah.
write this anyway.
Yeah.
There's little malice because there's no like I really do lack that thing that people are afraid I lack and that's why I can't work with kids or whatever. Like I didn't realize.
Uh-huh.
So like I didn't and she's like, well, can you get it off the internet? Because the Daily Mail had picked it up and
Mm,
I was like, no, you cannot ever get something off the like once something's on the internet, like you can't
yeah.
get it off. And I shouldn't have done that, but I can't not do that thing. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of us memoirs have that thing where that impulse, it's like almost a compulsion. Like you just
Mm.
have to say the thing. And no matter what happens, I still have it, even though I've been punished. I gotta say that thing. And I know, and
I
I've
mean,
worked
good
with
for
so
you.
many others.
I,
There are
I'm,
people who don't have it. There are people who are like, I'm just not going to share this. I'm like, really? And then there's people like us who are just like, I gotta say that thing.
yeah, I think for me, I mean, for me, for a long time, I wrote screenplays and fiction. Like, I was like, and people would say, oh, you should really write about yourself because your life was really strange and you should do it. And I would say, no, I don't want to do that. Thank you. And really, the cover of the pandemic and sitting with it and really thinking like, oh, this shame, it's not mine. I didn't do it. I
Not
showed
at
up,
all.
but yeah, but I when I read, like, there was one very recently in one of the binders saying I've been approached since I published something, and then all the people in the comments who've been doxxed, and I mean, it's just, I mean, there are some people out there who make it hard to be yourself. And I mean, that was true in my family of origin, and
Right.
it's not new, but
Right.
it still is like, oh, this, God,
Yeah,
um,
I'm perplexed by those people. I don't know.
I am very perplexed by those people. Like, what are you doing?
They're they're jealous.
Yeah, or they're just like
Which isn't a
disconnected.
judgment. It's just like that feeling of I wish I like we're not allowed to do that. You're
Yeah.
doing something I'm not allowed. We're not allowed to do that. We're not allowed to tell the truth
Lindy
about that.
West, I don't know if you read the book. I can't remember which one it was, where she found one of her people who was like stalking, whatever, being super cruel and to
Yeah,
her.
yeah,
And did you read that? And she interacts with them
yeah.
because she's like, what in the world? And the person basically says, I'm fat, and the way you talk about being fat is so upsetting to me because
Right. It's
I
triggering.
can't feel, yeah, I can't feel the way about myself that you feel about yourself. And they truly didn't seem to like resonate with them how hurtful what they were doing was,
Well,
which
we
is
don't
also a good
think.
thing.
I mean, even I struggle when I see someone who impresses me, who has what I
Mm,
want. Like, you
hmm.
don't think of them as human,
Hmm.
flawed in the same ways, sensitive. Because
Yeah.
we are in a way resilient,
Yeah.
but No, like it can still get to you. Yeah, it
I think
can.
it gets to everyone. That's the piece that it's like
Well,
everybody wants to feel safe. It
you're
doesn't
not
matter who
there
you are.
yet, and because and you already admitted it, I think at the front when I came in. But at the end of my book, I interviewed a reporter who had written a headline about me. I
Oh,
went
good
back
for
to her.
you. That's
You had
awesome.
it. Yeah. So
No, actually, I read part of the book and I felt so like hot and overwhelmed that I had to put it down. And
take
now
a
I'm
sec.
like, okay, I need to finish it. So
Well,
now
now you
you've given
have
me
to just to find
incentive.
out what happens because I'm
You
not
know,
going to
I was
spoil
really like,
it.
okay, this is hard. Like, so that's why I was imagined it was difficult for you to write because even for me to read it was, I mean, it was like, oh, this
It's
is,
cathartic. I mean,
yeah.
it's difficult. Like barfing is hard, but like you feel better when you're done. Like you really don't want to do it, then you do want to do it, and like then you're like, all right, I guess I'm doing this. It's a horrible analogy, and I'm actually claustrophobic, so like I don't want to hear myself have this conversation.
Okay, yeah, I won't talk about it then. I'll just accept your analogy and move on. But yeah, and I think, yeah, I've done a lot of things like that in my life where I'm like, this is not what I want to be doing, but then I'll feel better
Then
after
you do
I've
it. You
done it.
really, yeah,
So,
I'm really letting go of that analogy, but
yeah, I'm just,
I missed that season of my life when I was writing. It's a while ago now. But
hmm
I rented a camper van and I would just put myself in it. It was so
amazing.
destabilizing. And so, yeah, you get to just go insane. And I'm getting paid, so I have to do this. It
Yeah,
doesn't, that takes away that fear of self-indulgence. Where you're
yeah,
like, no, this is the thing I have to do. I'm getting paid to do it, so let me really do it.
yeah.
And I did for about 9 months. But I did. At the end of it, I got to interview, and that it really did happen around the end, and it appears at the end,
Oh, well.
where I went and I dated a guy that worked at the New York Post as well. So I was already curious in a way. I always had this fantasy that they would take me, that the guy I was dating would take me to the Christmas party, and I would meet the people. This is something I thought about.
That's a
Like
great
it was
fantasy. I could see
fantasy.
myself having a similar one. So
And I would show
yeah.
up and we'd have a
Mhm.
and then they'd be
Yeah.
like, "What's your name?" And I'd be
Yeah.
like, "Well, it's a funny story." But we broke up like right before
Oh.
he didn't invite me to it, and then we broke up. And yeah, that was like a loss. I didn't get to go to the Christmas party.
It's too bad that in life it's not like movies. You rarely get that opportunity to show up and like dazzle everyone with
No, it just never goes that way anyways.
no, it's just
So,
not. I mean, you don't speak to your mother, so you have this experience. You know, you can't sort of like with people like that, which for
right.
me it's my brothers. You know, you can't really walk in and dazzle them because they don't see you. So
No.
there's no world in which you can be seen, which is
Right.
why you don't have a relationship with them.
Right.
Um,
Which is why I have this compulsion to share myself constantly with the world
right, right.
because I was not seen by mommy or
hmm
daddy.
Okay, well, now that we've solved it,
Oh, problem, but solution? Anyone? In the comments?
well, anything else before we wrap up? Melissa, thank you so much for joining me, and even when you didn't know what you were signing up for.
I never know what I'm signing up for. That's such a
Oh, that's
joy
funny.
in
Yeah.
life to just go
I am
with
the
it.
opposite. I mean, I do enough homework to know what I'm signing up for, but not enough. I was talking to somebody who does a podcast, and I was like, hey, I'm going on this podcast. They're like, oh, have you listened to a bunch of their episodes? I'm like, no, I
Yeah.
can't do that for everything. They seem nice, you know, like I'll talk to them. It'll be cool. Like they were like, oh, you're not going to listen to. No. So it
Oh.
doesn't bother me that you didn't do your homework because
No,
you
I
can't.
get in the car and I'm like, okay, where am I going? And then I put it, and then I like, I'll be halfway down the street before it's in GPS. Like, I got
Well,
a lot of shit on my brain.
yeah. And you either have to say yes and be not completely prepared or say no. And I think
I'm
it's great to say
always saying
yes.
yes. I am
Yeah.
always saying yes all the
Yeah.
time to my
And you,
husband's like befuddlement because he's like, no more. But I
yeah.
just like, I love life. I
Yeah.
really love it. I want all of it now.
Mhm.
So I don't
I think
always
too,
tell
you show up, you find out who your people are. I mean, you
yes.
know, you show up and if I'd been like,
Listen,
oh, you know, we'd know,
I
oh, we're not
if you're
really.
not my person, you don't
Yep.
ask. That's the
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
Like my people ask. I just assume.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So anyway, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this, and congratulations on your book and all your writing and your work, and all you've done. From a
Thank you so
place where people tried to silence you, you were like, no. So I love that that was your response to that.
Well, it
Was
was it was
absolutely
way
not.
more complicated than just that, but yes, it was mostly
But
that.
ultimately,
Ultimately, that
you
was
know, yeah. I mean, everything's a journey. It's not from here, it's not from A to B, there's all the in between. But that ultimately you were not silent.
No, no, it really did turn out really well for me. And I do believe when people walk in their truth, it will turn out well if you just keep walking.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, on that note, we'll say goodbye. Thank you, Melissa. Bye.